Today is Alteryx Automation. We are very excited to see you here. And the one thing I want to stress is that this class is a hands-on class. There are labs. In order to do it, you will want to have a BI desktop and Alteryx installed. If you don't, the beginning parts are going to be actually in Google Sheets, so you could still participate. You could kind of watch and you could read through it, and it could be a reference for later. So you're welcome to stay if you'd like, but there will be labs that will require you to go out into a BI desktop. So I will let you choose what you'd like to do. But what we're going to do is some quick logistics. I'm going to do a brief introduction to Alteryx in case you've got it installed, but you've never used it. I'm going to go over what our use case for today is going to be, and then I'm going to do some demos, and then we'll do the labs. So welcome. So first of all, you should go and celebrate people who've done amazing, wonderful things. This DC 21 celebrations is using technology that we're going to learn today. It's using a Google form in Alteryx, and it's using that automation. It's live, and as you can see it in practice. So please go out to links.asu.edu/DC21 celebrations and celebrate someone who's done great work. Also, the ASU Data community is where those posts will get put to, and also lots of other information about what's going on for the day, and our website, UTO-ASU.edu events data conference. Anything else I missed, Paul? Okay. This session today is intended for a data night. So of our personas, we try to gear our training to sort of the time people have and things like that. So we think of a data night with a food theme of you do your own shopping and decide what to make, but you also often prepare data meals for others. Anyway, so that's kind of, I do think if you are a data apprentice and you have Alteryx, you could also participate. But, all right, so Alteryx. Alteryx is a tool that, and I also would like to just say today we have wonderful Matt Hines who works for Alteryx, and he's with us here today so that we have expert help if we need it. Alteryx has been a wonderful company, and so what Alteryx is designed to do is what's called ETL. You may or may not have heard that phrase before, but it stands for extract, transform, and load. And so the idea is you're pulling data or extracting it from different places, you're transforming it into magical, wonderful things, and then you're loading it into somewhere. So that's kind of its purpose. It's meant for analysts. In the past, a lot of ETL used to have to be done by IT, but now this puts it in the hands of everyone. So just to see extract, I put a little tooth being pulled. Hopefully Alteryx makes that easier and it doesn't feel like pulling teeth. But that's that input of data from many different places or sources, transforming the data, loading the data, and all that process together is a workflow that we can save and run on a schedule. Yes, you are able to access Alteryx. You just have to request it. If you go to ServiceNow and search analytics, there is a add software to BI desktop, and it's there. So you can request it. Yes, we have 300 licenses, which right now we have lots to spare. So okay, so Alteryx Designer, once you've requested it, then it will get installed onto a BI desktop, and we do a BI desktop for a couple of reasons. One, for security purposes, we try to protect our servers so that we don't get ransomware and make it on the news. Nobody wants that. And we also, it allows us to make sure that tools get installed properly and that everything's there and firewalls are open and everything's ready for you to use. So we install Alteryx Designer, and this is a picture of what a blank workflow would look like. And so that's Alteryx. Again, we're going to be doing some extracting, transforming, and loading. So today's use case that we are going to do is that we are putting on an event where we are going to invite people to attend, and then we're going to track more information about them, and then we're going to communicate with them about the event in an automated fashion. And we're going to do this by creating a Google form, saving our results to a Google spreadsheet. We're going to get more information to that data we collected. We're going to push that data automatically to a new Google Sheet. We're going to email people and we're going to Slack people. And then we're going to get input from people in our Google Sheet. So that's what's going to happen. And here's a little picture. We're going to take that Google form, put it into results. We're going to do all this transformation, push it back to a new Google Sheet. We're going to email Slack, and then we're going to get input. So that's what we're going to do. So the first lab that we're going to do is have you go out and create a new Google form. And you can do this in your own account for ASU or wherever. And you're just going to do new blank form. You're going to type in the name of your form and questions. You can, so I have some samples in there called event invitation. Feel free to name it as you want. Just remember what you name it so that you'll know as the instructions tell you. You can put a description. You do want to make sure you collect email addresses. That's key because that will give us their ASU rights of the person who fills it out, which is good. We can add questions. So we're going to add one. Will you be attending this event? Yes, no, or maybe. And then how many people will be attending? And then you can change the look and feel of the form. And there you go. And then you're going to do the responses. You're going to make it go to a spreadsheet. So we're going to have it go to an event invitation responses. And then we're going to copy our link because what I want you guys to do is after we've all created our forms, I want you to go and fill out each other's forms out just so we can have a little bit more data. So as we get ready to start the labs, if you have not already, now is the time to go to this training catalog, data conference view, and download or open the labs. So let me know if anyone has trouble doing that.
I'm going to get a link. I'm going to try to get a link for them right now and post it in chat, Kristin.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll come back to that in a second. So this first lab, 10 minutes. So we're starting at 9:20. So at 9:30, we'll come back. Feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to help and show any samples. Also, we do have breakout rooms set up and a couple of people here who can go to a breakout room if you get stuck or need any help. Okay. And, you know, I get lonely sitting here by myself if it's too quiet. So I love questions, really. Please answer questions, ask questions.
Kristin, are we at this point downloading the PDF or the PowerPoint slide?
You want the PDF, that's the labs. And so that has the step-by-step instructions.
And we can just get started, or yep. Did you want us to go to a certain point and stop?
Oh, just the lab one. And when you get to the end of lab one, you can stop. You can go ahead if you want, but lab one is where we're gonna, the first part. So we're just doing that Google form part. So if you don't have Alteryx right now, that's okay. You can just create the Google form. And if you do finish, you can go ahead and load your BI desktop and your Alteryx as well. And thank you for the question. Do I need a little stopwatch? Okay, and I'm also going to put in the chat a link to another Google spreadsheet where you can put your link to your form when it's ready. so that other people can fill it out for you. I don't know where I'd be without Google Sheets and Google Forms. And please also, if anything's a little confusing, I'm always happy to get feedback as you're going to. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so we have 5 more minutes. Does everyone need more time? Feel like we're good? Let me know. So well, as I assume that is your link. Thank you for sharing.
Do we share on your link or should we share in the chat?
It would be good because then everyone could see everyone else's in the,
Where? You said the Google form?
yeah. But the chat's good too. Sam, I like your form.
I'm so serious about the last one.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch where we were sharing if it's not the chat.
That's good. And Wells, I put yours in the Google. It's the Google.
Oh, the Google form that you put in the chat. Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, no problem. I put yours in, so we're good.
Thank you.
Gives me something to do. And so if you are done and you want to go to that link, go ahead and fill out someone else's form, because the more data we all collect, the better we'll get to see how it all works. So don't make your forms too long. Okay, we got about 2 more minutes.
Sam, I like the slice plug. That's pretty sweet there.
That's my whole thing. Like, I'm just, more is out there, the more people will be totally outraged if we don't win.
Custom image and everything. Look at that background. I like it.
It's all part of my grand plan.
All right. We are at our time. Does anyone need a few more minutes? Are we good to move on? It's okay if you don't put yours in. We just want to get you guys data in there. Are we good? You can keep going if you want. Let me fill out one more just to. Do that. All right. So now we have our form. So if you can, go ahead and fill out some other people's forms. And then next, now we've got some data. And so now we're going to pull it into Alteryx and we're going to do some transformation. So we're going to do extract and transform. So we're going to open our BI desktop, which is the Amazon workspace. We're going to go to Alteryx 2020.3. X64 is the designer we're going to load. You'll see this start here. We're going to do a new workflow. And so we're going to use Google Sheets. And in the lab, there's instructions on how to make sure you have the right version. So it gives you a path to get to an article where you can go make sure you've copied over. If you've been using Google Sheets, you know you're good. But if when you go to connect, it doesn't look the same as in the lab, that's going to be a step you'll want to do. So in that, there's a KB article that tells you where to go get it. If you are on the BI desktop, then the path will be fine to get to it if you want, and you want to open it on your BI desktop. And you're just going to be copying some folders into a location it tells you to. It's a quick and easy step. Once you have the Google Sheets connectors, you're going to just pull down a Google Sheet input. You're going to click on this connect button. You're going to choose your account or log in, and you're just going to authorize. And then you're going to see the magic that you're going to have all the Google Sheets you have in your drive that you have access to, and how great it's going to be. We're going to do, you'll load that in as a sheet, and then we're going to split column. So we're going to use this text to columns transformation tool. And what that's going to allow us to do is take the ASU write out of our email address, and then we'll have that as a separate field. So we're going to do that. So we're going to, and Alteryx is all about dragging down tools and connecting them. So we're going to split that column email address that should be there, 2 columns. We're going to do 2, and we're going to put an output root name of ASU write. So that that's going to create 2 new fields, but we'll clean that up. We're going to then use what's called a select tool, where we're going to rename ASU write 1, which it does automatically to ASU write. And we're going to get rid of this ASU write 2 because that's just going to say asu.edu. And it'll spell this all out. And then we have a file we're going to use for this training called directory data. So if for some reason this, and it's kind of an old file, so there may be people who have, it's about a year old. So if you've been here less than a year, you may not match up, and that's okay. But we give you the path here to get to it. And you're going to type that in, and it'll give you instructions how to do that. We're going to then join our data from our Google Sheet to that file. So we're going to use this join tool to our directory data to our Google Sheet data. And we're going to have a left input and a right input. And we're going to join by ASU write in our left and ASU write ID on our right. And then you get choices of what fields you want to include or not in our select tool, in our join tool, sorry. And it kind of shows you what types of joins you have. And then we're going to do a formula so that we can make things fancy. So for that, we're going to add 2 fields. And the reason we're going to do this is so that people can enter it in, and that each time we write to this sheet, if we don't account for fields we want someone else to put in, it would wipe it out if we go to put in new fields. So that will be a factor. So we're going to add 2 new fields, and we're just going to say no, which means it's empty. And these are, I have step-by-step instructions. So we're going to then do a new output to a Google Sheet, to a new Google Sheet. And that is very similar to our Google Sheet input, but now we're going to be able to create a new spreadsheet. So that was a lot. So this lab's going to take us 20 minutes. So I'm going to check in periodically. Again, we have breakout rooms if anybody gets stuck. So it is now 9:36. So we will go to 9:56. We'll just go to 10 o'clock unless people are all done. So again, let me know if anyone has any questions. And you're just going to do lab 2 starting on page 13. Carlos, I liked your form.
Pictures and everything.
I know. And keep in mind, if you have a question, probably others do too. So I'm happy to demo it live or. I better open up everything so I can.
Hey, Kristin, last year we did the Google Sheet developer thing. Is this similar? Is this like a different way of doing how we connected the Google Sheet last year for the data conference? Do you remember?
So it's similar. It's easier now.
Yeah, that sounds like, wait, where's all the developers?
Yeah, the developer account was really confusing, and every time I would show someone, Google had changed things. So I'm hoping and that this will be much easier. So Matt and Jonathan, thank you for making the Google Sheets input much easier.
So this is what we should use instead of that other, because I still have like, I was referencing the other one from last year, the information from last year. So I should use this now.
Yes, and yes, for sure. And one thing I will just show as well that I don't really talk about, but down at the bottom, once you've connected, you get this connection token. And if you want, you can save that and just always use that instead of kind of going through the steps. I find though, it's just so easy. I just sort of reauthorize every time, but
yeah,
that's
okay.
an option.
Cool, thank you.
Hey, Kristin, it's Erin Gertz.
Hi.
I'm looking at my connections bar, but I don't have the Google Sheets input tool. How do I add that?
Okay, so in the lab, there's a link to the KB article. I'm just getting to it.
I think Diana might have put it in the chat.
Okay. So this installing Google Sheets tools. So if you go to that, it will give you the path, this path right here. And then it shows you, once you find those folders, you copy it to this. And where it says ASU Write is your ASU Write. And you do this on the BI desktop.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And once you copy that folder in, then just close Alteryx if you already have it, if you have it open, and then open it again, and then they should show up.
I'm trying to do that, and when I try to find the FSX file, it says network discovery and file sharing are turned off. And when I try to change it to turn it on and I sign in for like admin, it doesn't let me.
Okay. So when you go to that folder,
Like when I just click on network, it won't even let me open anything. It just says network file sharing is turned off, and then I can't turn it on. I tried to, and it has me sign in, but it doesn't let me.
okay, and that's okay. See, I get that too. So if you just type in like start typing it in, try that. And you should be able to copy it and then paste it in. Here, I'll.
Shouldn't you also be able to just click on the F drive?
No,
If they have it?
most people don't.
Oh, right.
Okay, I don't know if this was already asked, but when I put the Google input tool into my canvas, it says sign in the Google Sheets. Is this what everyone's just talking about? I'm not sure, but when I said sign into Google Sheets, I tried to sign in using my user login. It doesn't work. And then I can't remember all my developer information.
You shouldn't need that. It should just be your it should be your ASU Write, like what you log into Google, your Google Drive with.
Okay.
So if you click connect,
Yeah, see, I don't see that.
you don't see the connect button
No, I don't see what you see on that login to Google Sheets.
down here.
No. On the left side? Yeah, yeah, all of that, I don't see that. Here, I'll take a screenshot of it. Well, I can't take a screenshot, but I see something else. I see,
So that means you need the updated Google Sheets input.
also I have to do what the other young lady had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the first step. If yours doesn't look like this, then you got to go back and do that Google Sheets. Copy.
Hey, Kristin, that path that you put in the chat, it works. There is a question that it asks. It says to resolve the file type. It says read it in as a built-in type like a YXDB or a text file or a delimited text file.
It says that in Alteryx or in the.
In Alteryx, like when you type in that pathway, or at least it did for me.
Okay. Like this part.
Yeah.
Usually if you do the directory data.csv and then hit enter, it usually will, this should pick up the file format of CSV.
Oh, got it. So when you guys are, if you use that path that's in the chat, just add the .csv to the end of it.
Wait, add it where? At the end?
Well, this is when you're doing the input data. Once
Yeah,
you
so I got a folder. I don't know, maybe I'm in the wrong place, but when I opened it up, it had an index and some folders and stuff like that. So I clicked into the Google Sheets input folder, and then I have more stuff.
Yeah, this part you just need to copy this input and output folder over to the other. Once you copy that, you're done with that part. He's talking about the text file that we're joining.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this, Paul, but I think there is a small typo on the bottom of page 28 in the lab. It says HTTPS for the file path, but it's going to be that double backslash.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. In the screenshot on the following page, page 29, it has the right path for what it should look like.
can I have a breakout room with someone? I'm struggling with the downloading the input macro.
I can try.
Okay, how
So-
do I do the breakout room?
You should be able to go down where it says breakout room and you should see them and choose one and click on join.
Okay, thanks.
And then Dixon. Yeah. So once you do the input. And then you do the or the data directory, right? And you hit enter. Sometimes it takes a minute, but the option should load. Although I probably have both. But if you notice, it did put in the comma separated.
I think it's directory data, Kristin, as opposed to data directory.
Thank you. I know some things by heart, but some things. Actually, and I think it's Alteryx. There you go. And when you refresh, you'll know it connected. Thank you, Paul.
Still copied over funky, so hopefully that doesn't mess people up.
It should be fine. And for whatever reason, when you use that FSX path, it makes like half of it a link. And it makes it hard to click on it.
Microsoft just doesn't like spaces in any of their file paths.
Yeah. Oh, Microsoft. So we've got about 11 more minutes. We can always extend the time if people need it.
So I tried that link that Paul sent. I'm still getting a file not found error.
This one.
The FSX one.
Let's see if it.
The set, it's the other one.
Yeah, I don't think I copied it. Oh, so somebody else is in it. Oh, see, these are fun things you can't learn until you're doing stuff live.
Well, I ran it and it loaded data for me, so maybe I'm the one in it.
Yeah, way to go, Paul. No, I'm just
Did I
kidding.
not be?
No, so it should load again if somebody's not running it, but if you want, you could also always make a copy of it. Maybe put your own name on it or something just to have it for this class. Normally we wouldn't all be hitting a file at the same time. If that makes sense. Is that the message you're getting?
So I'm not getting an error opening the file. I'm getting one that just says file not found.
And it's the analytics, FSX, share analytics training, Alteryx automation, directory data, CSV.
Yeah, I just ran it again and it's loading.
All right. We can do a breakout room and look if you'd like.
Do you want me to go to it and try to troubleshoot, Kristin, so that you can stay here with the group, or?
Sure, if so.
I can go, Paul, if you want to be host. So I don't want to take the host away from the host. I can help if you wouldn't mind. I can do either way. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good, Bob. Thanks. Maybe breakout room 2 then.
Okay, sounds good.
Here, I'll put you there. To room 2, and then who else is going to breakout room with Bob? Is it Brandon?
Yeah, if you could put me there, that'd be great.
Cool. Okay.
I think you have to click join too, Brandon. Hey, Grant. All right, we have about 7 minutes. How's everybody feeling? All right, well, let's check the permissions first of all in the folder.
It's like everyone's getting that error. See if I can send you guys to the breakout room with Bob, or do you want to just check the access, Kristen, before I do that?
Yeah, because if Bob can't help, let's make sure it inherited. Should be allowing. Access is denied. All right, well, so for the purposes of this session, if you want to go ahead, can you open the file if you go from let me put it out so everyone can get to it for sure, and you can copy it. The main reason we always do FSX is when we go to schedule things on the server. We like to, FSX is the best way to connect on the server. But you can connect to anywhere. So let me, and FSX, you can connect from your own desktop. You just need a VPN on. So move the file. Actually, I'm going to put it in work docs. You guys should all have work docs on the VI desktop. So you should all have a W drive here. And it's in the shared with me file. We'll use the transfer file, shared with me transfer. And then okay, so in that location, so what you can actually do if you click on it, and when you click on this drop down, you can even go to files, go to CSV. And if you go to the W drive shared with me transfer.
I don't have that transferred folders in the W drive.
You don't. Okay, of course not.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, now it's letting me create one. All right. Although, is it going to be shared with everyone? Do you have a training folder now?
I'm checking right now. Let's see.
I do not.
All right, what do you see?
Alteryx macros, data connections, OCEs, software.
Let's do Alteryx macros. It's not one, but it's Alteryx, right? Okay, shared with me Alteryx macros. Is everybody good? Aaron, do you see the, yeah, you see Alteryx. Okay, so yeah, so what was that?
The data, it hasn't populated yet, that CSV. Alteryx macros.
Okay, so again, if you go to files, CSV, and you go to W, it's going to take a minute because of course it is. We can see it's here.
Kristin, I think you were looking at the macros directory
Oh, yeah,
in your Windows Explorer.
thank you.
For anybody who knows more than me, is there, because I know, Kristin, you're doing this, is there a way that, because like when I pulled in the data from my Google worksheet, the first row was numbers instead of the the actual headers.
Yes,
And
so
so-
if you go to previous, because I forget that sometimes too.
Okay.
This up in the top, it says first row contains field names.
Oh, well,
So if
there
you
you go.
check that, then yes, you should have the names. And in case you've seen it, sometimes when you first load it, it'll say remove is the only column name. It's like you have to run it a couple times for it to like take.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, so I think we probably need a few more minutes, right?
Hopefully that file shared for everyone else, but it still didn't share for me, Krista. In that
Yeah, it's not on my end either.
place.
Cool. So you guys don't see the directory data file?
Mm-mm.
I could create like a Slack channel or something like that and, you know, put it there if you want me to, Kristen, or I don't know what kind of data it is to be doing that.
Well, it's directory data. So, I wonder if I put it at the root. Probably won't let me do that. I'm still helping someone. Grant, can you?
Are people struggling to get to that CSV because of the typo in the file path?
No, they have, it says no permission.
Oh, interesting. Because I just looked at that Alteryx Automation folder and it looks like you've got it open to
Everyone, yeah.
domain users. Yeah.
That was the first thing I checked. Okay, let's see if I can. See if I can put it in the chat. Then that's just to us, right? This is where also, if you normally have, if you have data warehouse access, there is a table out there you could also use, so. This
Yeah.
was supposed to make things simpler.
Try to grab the CSV and put it in the chat, like you said, Kristen. So don't worry about that. I'll work on it.
Okay, well, everyone needs it.
Transfer us to go using Dropbox and then he put in his directory, so it will around that way. You still get the same access issue.
I made an update to that file's permissions. So it might work now.
You updated the file permissions?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody try it now. The right way that's in the document. While I copy it over.
More than one way to IC the cake. So.
Yay, well said, it works. Thank you, Grant.
Aaron, with your question, are you after you've connected to the data?
So I must have missed what Grant just did. I'm still getting file not found. So on directory data.
With the one, with the path that Paul had saved out there.
Yeah. So which path do I use?
We'll put it in one more time. So
You should
try
be able
that.
to just copy and paste that and put it in that connect the file or database space.
Yeah, paste it in here.
Okay, that fixed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. And sometimes when you open it, you'll get this error, and if you run it, it's like it syncs it. If you, yours won't look like that yet. These containers are also really good, so you can disable so you don't write things to places before you're ready. So this, we're scheduled today till 10:30. Right, Paul? Or are we scheduled to like 10:20 or something?
It's 10. Check my notes real quick.
I think the next session starts at 10:30.
Yeah, it does. So it'll be 20, 15, 10 more minutes, 12 more minutes.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, if you guys want to just, wherever you are, take a pause for a minute, and then I'm gonna kind of show the next steps. If you're ready to move on, you can, or keep going where you are. You're gonna have this as a reference to go forward. And I do also want to stress that if you go through these labs and you have trouble, you can always reach out for consultation hours, or you can even Slack me directly, and I'm happy obviously this was a a problem in part because so many people were doing it and we needed to work out the permissions, but so I'm just going to go through kind of the next section, which gets a little complicated. Not too bad, but so the big thing when we write to a Google Sheet, it's awesome. We can write to a new Google Sheet and we can write to an existing one. Those are your choices when you do write to it. But what happens is that if we wanted to keep adding more data, if we don't check that it already exists, then it's going to keep overriding. It'll keep adding the same record over and over, and we don't want that, right? So in our lab, what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring in that new Google Sheet that we created previously, or once we create it, so we can check, does it already exist before we write? And we're going to append to the data. So that's going to be a part, we're going to add a new join to our same Google Sheet that we created. So usually you kind of have to create it and then add this step afterwards, because you can't obviously join to something that doesn't exist yet. And we're going to do our join. And in this case, we actually want the ones that don't match, right? So we're going to do, I believe, a left. So we're going to join to our email address to make sure that we didn't already put that in. We're going to add it to a container like I showed you, just so we can disable it while we make sure it works. And then we're going to write to it. And you're going to probably get an error to one of the challenges, and Matt, maybe make a note of this. When you go to write to a Google Sheet, if there's no data to write to it, it gives you an error. And that's okay, because we didn't want it to write data that's already there. There is a fix that I have found where you can do it with a macro, but that was way more than we were going to do today. So I am going to do another session where I show how to do that. So stay tuned for that in the either Alteryx channel or the data community, how to fix that. But this error is okay. And you're just going to write it to it. And then we're going to show you how to do an email so we can let people know that there's events out there to go update. And we're going to show you how to make a little table and then put it in our email. And we're going to write up a little message with a Google link in our email. And then we're going to send this email with this table so people can see. And then that is lab 3. And we're probably not going to get to lab 4, but we also are going to learn how to do Slack stuff, where I've set up a Slack channel for you. And I've made notes available where you can go create your own app, and I'm happy to help anybody with that. So we have just about, how long did we say?
20 minutes. So we will break at 10:30, and then the entrees start at 10:35.
Okay. So go ahead, finish that. We're here to help as we go. Keep going where you are. And then the Slack part, and maybe I'll do another sort of special session just on Slack as well. Also, if you do want to use one that already works, if you can get to that folder, in the FSX, in the training, in the Alteryx Automation, you'll see there is this training workflow. If you do want to open that up and see examples, that is out there, the one that I have open right here. So I will actually close it in case you want to use it. So you can use that as a reference. And so I pick how long labs should take when everything works perfectly. And now we know, make sure file permissions are good, not just the folders. And please let me know again. We're in this together. And happy to help again if we're wherever you are. Sam, thank you for putting on your camera too, so I can see when you look confused. It tells me that. I appreciate that.
You see my confused face quite a bit.
It's good. Lets me know people are out there.
Totally doing this because it's so much easier, but I'm just trying to follow the direction at the same time. That's just like, wait, what, did I skip a step?
I know. I'm not a good follow directions kind of person. I miss steps.
The problem is I think I know what I'm doing and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, oh, it didn't turn out. And then I have to go back.
It's always exciting when I don't hear from people. I know it's working, but then it's so quiet.
I think things are working better. I think it was just that one hiccup.
Yes.
And then just so I'm following along conceptually, what I did the second join, and just so I'm understanding what's happening here, as people are filling out the form, which is going to be that top row, it's essentially going to be sending an email to people who are who are in the new sheet, but not in the that are already in there. Is that correct?
So the email is really, the idea is we've gotten new people who've been added to our
Right.
form, and we want someone to go in and sort of like verify, let's say. So it's, the email is not going to the person who filled it out, it's going to someone in our office, let's say. That's where we're like hard coding it in. It can go to either though. If you wanted to email the person we got your registration, you could do that.
Okay. I'm
But
just
in
really
this-
bad with the joins, you know, like a left join versus like an inner versus a right, which I'm realizing is a thing that a lot of people just struggle with too. But
Seriously,
Yeah.
joins are the worst. And don't even get me started on a left outer join.
Yeah, so that's where, I think Kristin, if you put up the icon or the join tool itself, the explanation there on the left, those Venn diagrams can be super helpful. So the L output anchor is things that are on the left input to the join that don't exist on the right. And then the R anchor, conversely, is things that are on the right input anchor that don't exist on the left. And then the J is those things that did match up between the two. So that's how you kind of think about those three to try to, maybe better visualize what's going in and coming out of that join tool. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, and then the cool part about Alteryx is you actually, if you notice, you have a L, J, and an R. So what that allows you to do is like if you want a left outer join, for example, so you could take the L and the J and you could union them together. Or you could take the J and do one thing and the L and do another. Like so you've got options, which is good. As we're finishing up real quick, and feel free to pay attention if you'd like or not, I just thought I'd show real quick something that is in production live, kind of uses these same concepts. If you know about staff training and you've ever taken hopefully you've taken your information security training and your fire safety training and all of those things. If you're not aware, all those trainings are done. Some are done in Canvas, some are done in Career Edge. And there are thousands of courses in both. And so it can be a challenge to know which ones should show on the main dashboard that we have. So I've written a series of workflows and I send every day these Slack messages to let people know it's ready to be processed. And so, for example, what I do automatically is anytime there's a new class that gets added either to Career Edge or to Canvas, we post it here, and this allows then a group of people to say, yes, this should show up on the dashboard, or no. We have to watch that because if we put too many on the dashboard, the records get exponentially large. So once they check it off here, then I pull it back into a table, and then that's what allows the dashboard to know which classes should appear and which should not. So they don't have to go in and put these ID numbers and the course name. All they have to do is know that there are new ones here, and it comes in with a status of new. And Google Sheets are supposed to let me do a filter, but that never seems to work. But a new class came in and they can say, oh yes, publish that to the dashboard, or no. And then they can change that to done, and we all know it's been dealt with. Lots of different departments are in here. And then that's what feeds then the dashboard. So this is a case of where it's live and in action, but and so also that Slack helps because then people know when it's time to go check. And then there's this channel out there that you'll get to, ASU Alteryx bot that you should be able to join if you go back and do these labs, and I hope you do. And you, for whatever reason, have trouble, just let me know and we'll get that worked out. But you can post to here where it's only the people who might join this channel. It is not, no one else can see. So you can mess stuff up and have it look funky and try different things. So don't join the channel if you don't want to see people doing that. But it gives you a place to kind of experiment. And then there's an article in there on how you can create your own Slack bot or your own channel. I mean, your own application and use it in your own Slack stuff.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't get to do all of it because we ran out of time, but I was looking through the instructions. When you joined or connected the basic table to the text, and then you did the email, so the text, is that showing up as like the first part of the email, and then the second part is the actual Google Sheet?
Yeah, so here we go.
Yeah, so yeah, that part.
So you create the table, and then here you'll notice up at the top it says attach text to existing field, and the field is table. And then I said place the text above the existing object. So then it puts it kind of as one thing, and it puts this above the table. I didn't know about that at first either. And so I was like, I can either do a table or I can do text. I didn't know I could do both. So
You could also do all that with a layout tool, but that's going beyond kind of the basic parts of reporting.
yeah, I haven't mastered that yet, Matt. I've tried, I've dabbled.
Understood.
I need to do the advanced certification series to get good at that.
I'm still trying
Coming
to
in
figure
the
out.
year.
I'm still trying to figure out how to attach it to the email that we were talking about, Kristin. Like the way you told me that works if I just wanted to do it this way, where the data is right in the body. But then when I use that field and I say attach the table, it never does that.
It doesn't put the message on the,
On the email tool, no, it won't attach it so that it will, attach it as an Excel file so you can add attachments up there. And then when you say add attachments, it'll ask you if you want to add the text as the attachment, or if you want to add a
yes. So when you do attachments, there's some considerations in mind, and Matt does open office hours with us.
yeah, and Thursday. So I'm going to do that.
Okay. And he can help you with that specifically, but there's some factors right now, as far as I know, adding an attachment, the FSX, the network path doesn't seem to work. I'm still trying to figure that out. And you have to kind of say stop until done because you want to make sure the file's been built if you're building a file to attach. So there's some things like that to keep in mind.